Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Before the carriage even reached the entrance of the minister's residence, the sounds of drums, music, and crackling fireworks could be heard from afar. Lu Zhu lifted the curtain for me, and the street was bathed in the glow of red lanterns, making it seem as if we were in a dream. From a distance, I could see the entire household waiting at the gate, and my eyes filled with tears, though I had to restrain myself from crying in front of others. As my carriage approached, the servants and maids came forward to assist me. The expressions on my parents' faces were a mix of joy and sorrow, their smiles like the spring breeze, yet their eyes were brimming with tears. I was about to rush into my mother's arms when everyone suddenly knelt down and respectfully said, "Minister Zhen Yuandao and his family pay their respects to the young mistress." I was momentarily stunned, then remembered I had been chosen by the emperor as an imperial concubine, awaiting the official decree to confirm my status and rank. My world had changed overnight. Overwhelmed with sorrow, I couldn't hold back my tears and reached out to help my parents up. My father quickly gestured for me not to, saying, "It's not proper for the young mistress to do so." Huan Bai handed me a silk handkerchief, and I wiped away my tears, trying to keep my voice steady as I said, "Please rise." Everyone then got up and led me inside, surrounding me like stars around the moon. We had a family banquet with just us. My father attempted to seat me at the head of the table. I immediately knelt down, tears streaming down my face. I have failed in my filial duties, unable to serve and care for my parents at home, and yet I have to abide by such formalities, which makes me uneasy. My parents rushed over to help me up, but I remained kneeling. "Please let me finish. Even though I belong to the palace now, filial piety cannot be abandoned. Please allow me to continue serving you with due respect before I enter the palace, or else I'd rather kneel indefinitely." My mother was crying heavily, and my father, with tears in his eyes, nodded. Good, good. I, Zhen Yuandao, am fortunate to have such a filial daughter." He signaled my younger sisters Yu Yao and Yu Haio to help me up, and we took our seats for the meal. Disturbed and having labored all day, I had little appetite and excused myself early to rest. Lu Zhu and Huan Bai had already prepared my bed. Despite my fatigue, sleep eluded me. As I changed into my nightclothes, intending to force myself to sleep, my father came to see me with a bowl of sugar-sweetened bird's nest soup. He called me Huaner, his eyes filled with tears of age. Sitting beside him, I finally broke down and cried, resting on his arm. He said, "My child, I have something to tell you. You've always been headstrong, even discarding the you from your name at 7 because it was too common. As you grew, I let you have your way. But in the palace, you can't be so willful. You must be cautious and prudent, just like Meizhuang." I nodded, promising, "I understand. I'll be careful and abide by the rules." My father sighed. "I never wanted you to enter the palace, but it's unavoidable now. The palace is full of intrigue, and the emperor has already taken a keen interest in you, which may lead to jealousy and schemes. If you're not cautious, it could be detrimental. Remember, if you're not assured of winning favor, it's best to keep a low profile. I don't wish for riches or honor, just for my precious daughter to live safely." I looked earnestly into his eyes. "I don't seek the emperor's favor, just to live quietly in the palace and preserve our families and my own safety." My father's eyes were filled with tender love. "It's a pity you must endure hardship in the palace at such a young age. I can hardly bear it." Wiping away my tears, I said firmly, "There's no turning back now. I must move forward." My father was somewhat reassured but asked cautiously, "The people you take to the palace must be trustworthy and capable. Have you decided?" I knew what he meant. "I've thought it through. Lu Zhu is alert, and Huan Bai is meticulous. I want to take them with me." He sighed in relief. "That's good. They've grown up with you, and I'll be at ease." I bowed. If they stayed, they'd eventually marry servants with no bright prospects. Bringing them could give them a chance at a better future. My father sighed, aware of the realities. It's up to their fate now. After assuring him, I sent him off and blew out the candle, plunging the room into darkness. The next morning, Lu Zhu and Huan Bai helped me wash and dress. Suddenly remembering something but realizing I couldn't leave as I pleased, I summoned my maid, Biener, and instructed, Find out if An Lingrong, the daughter of the magistrate of Songyang, has been selected and where she's staying. Be discreet. She returned later. Miss An has been selected and is staying at Liujian in Jingbai Hudong West City. She came only with an aunt and is running low on funds, even struggling to tip, with the innkeeper covering for her. I frowned, troubled by the impropriety of a selected concubine living in an inn. If seen by the eunuchs or etiquette instructors, it could jeopardize her position in the palace. After a moment's thought, I said, "Summon my father." Within a short time my father arrived. Despite my attempts to stop him, he insisted on bowing to me before taking a seat at my table. Once the formalities were over, he reverted to being the doting father I knew, engaging in light-hearted conversation. I shared with my father, "Dad, there's something I'd like to discuss with you. I met a maiden yesterday and helped her out. Now she's been selected as a concubine, but she comes from humble origins and is currently in a dire financial situation, staying at an inn. It's quite pitiful. I'd like to invite her to stay with us. What do you think?" After stroking his beard and pondering for a moment, my father said, "If you like her, there's no issue. I'll have your brother bring her here." By evening, a sedan chair had brought An Lingrong and her aunt to our home. My mother had already had the neighboring Chuanji pavilion cleaned and prepared with clothes and jewelry, and assigned a few maids to serve them. After dinner, my brother, beaming, escorted Lingrong to my residence, Kuaishui Pavilion. Upon seeing me, Lingrong's face was streaked with tears, and she was about to kneel in gratitude. I quickly got up to support her, laughing, "We're like sisters. There's no need for such formality between us." Lu Zhu, quick-witted, promptly invited Lingrong and her aunt Xiao to sit. Lingrong, with her brother present, managed to smile through her tears and said, "I owe a great debt to Sister Zhen for giving me a place in the capital, ensuring I won't be looked down upon when I enter the palace. I have no way to repay this kindness." Aunt Xiao was also endlessly grateful. My brother chuckled. When I went to the inn to fetch them, the innkeeper thought he could take advantage of Miss Lingrong's situation and refused to let them leave. But I managed to persuade him otherwise. I playfully scolded, "In front of Miss Lingrong, let's not talk about fighting and scaring people with your martial prowess." Lingrong, now amused and a bit shy, said, "It's all right. I'm grateful for the help from Brother Zhen. We're calling people heroes now, are we?" I joked, "As long as you don't scare us too much." We all shared a laugh at this.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.